Joe, thanks so much for joining us on the Advisory Board podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited, Dave. Excited. Yeah, I'm always excited though. I wake up like this, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you got to drive everyone crazy in your house, I'll bet.
Oh, absolutely. And don't give me sugar.
Caffeine, heaven help us. Yeah. Hey, so
Yeah.
guys, let me introduce you to Joe Kenemore. He's a partner of ours at Mailbox Power. He's the CEO there, but there's a lot to Joe. So I'll do my best, Joe, to give you a quick kudos and intro, and then I'm going to turn it over to you to tell us a bit more. But he's
Sounds great.
been the CEO of Mailbox Power for a couple of years now. And we'll talk about Mailbox Power in a second, because that's the crux of what we're going to talk about today, about effective gifting and strategies to use, blended media, things like that. But Joe's kind of an expert in the space. But his background goes deep. Today's Veterans Day, guys. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 11th, and Joe's also a veteran. He served our country in the U.S. Navy for 6 years as a communications specialist. Joe, just tell us about that for a second, because it cracked me up when you told me about that.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I enjoyed every day of my military time. I was on a tin can, basically, 414 feet long, 50 foot abreast. Most of my time in the Pacific Ocean, bobbing around like a dang cork in the Cold War era. And you remember the old the lights with Morse code and semaphore? That was my job. And let's just say it did not, the skill did not transfer well into the civilian world at all. So anyway, fish out of water basically is what it boiled down to. But I'll say this, Dave. I wouldn't trade my time there for anything. I would do it over again right now, today.
Well, I appreciate you serving, even if it was, with flashing lights and things. It's a critical thing, and got a lot of friends who serve. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit. So let's shift to Mailbox Power. So you guys know us, Client Tether, but one of the things that we've wanted to do for many years, in fact, we started this discussion, Joe, probably about the time you started there with Demar and Justin, but we do automated texting, calling, emailing, and all the digital media, but we felt we just really wanted to give people a tool where you can now blend the physical media fulfillment, send a sleeve of golf balls to somebody with their name printed on it after you send them a text message, then a box of brownies. Like, we wanted to have this fully rich blended media campaign. Well, cue Mailbox Power, right? Mailbox Power recently went through a rebrand, but it's banner season and Rocket Note. If you've ever heard me talk about that before, this is the company. And you guys have had you have deep ties with Giftology, with John, the author of the book, and you guys have worked together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you guys, and even anything else about yourself that you think we ought to know before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the topic?
Yeah, well, I don't want to spend time talking about me. I want to talk about this base who's listening. I want to talk about how we can help them, because that's truly my goal. Forget my company name. Forget what I'm doing. And just think about me as an expert right now in customer engagement, and we use the mailbox. That's the difference. That's who we are, customer engagement in the mailbox. And you said one key word, Dave, that I've got to key in on, and it was called automation. That is a big, big deal. My competitors haven't figured it out yet. My competitors, they say that if you'll get up and you'll type a card, or you'll write out a card every day to all of your customers and tell them how much you love them, that you'll win. And they're right. They're absolutely right. 100% correct. But who has time for that? Like, literally, who has time for that? I can use an automated feature to make my customer feel like $1 million and feel like I love them with a flip of a button. Just a click of a button, done and over with. So, automation's a big deal. What I specialize in is literally engaging with your customers, retaining your customers, getting referrals out of your customers, creating new relationships and recognizing your customers, your vendors, your employees. Honestly, making people feel good. Truthfully, that's what this is all about, is making people feel good. Gifts have been used since the dawn of time to soothe and sway kings and rulers of countries. And here we are today, using it literally to make our customers feel good and make sure they remember us. We like to say, a lot of us in the world, we like to talk in sales, that if you're known, liked, and trusted, you're in good shape. But there's one key word missing. If you're not remembered, if you are not remembered at the key time when somebody's making a buying decision, where are you? You're lost. It doesn't matter if they know, like, and trust you. If they don't remember you, you're done. And I have 10 ways from Sunday
to make sure that they remember you. That is the key. And not just remember you. You know, when you talk about the mailbox, there's a difference between an inbox and a mailbox. I can give you a 100% open rate. The inbox can't. So, you know, there's a big difference to those who are marketing and selling to understand that they can actually buy the attention and eyeballs of their customer. And that is such a big deal. I'm a marketer at heart. I think I told you, Dave, I'm unemployable, right? I don't work well for others. So anyway, serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But being an entrepreneur and being a business owner of 3 businesses right now, I got to tell you, there's, what did they say? Success leaves clues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of that to be said about any business. When you look at successful businesses, how are they treating their customers? Why do their customers give them referrals? Why do they stick around, right? Why don't they just go to the competition?
Yeah.
And I think it has everything to do with the relationship and not being transactional. You know, I've talked a lot about transactional business relationships. Hey, if you buy this amount, I'll lower the price. Transactional, right? That has nothing to do with a relationship. Hey, if you buy the car today, I'll throw in the floor mats. Transactional. You know what I mean? It's very commonplace that everything's transactional nowadays instead of relational. You know, why is it that we're just not treating, you know, a human and a customer like a friend and a good human? Why are we not celebrating their birthdays? Why are we not celebrating? I know you're going to think this is ridiculous. Their half birthday. You know, none of us have celebrated our half birthday since we were 12, but I promise you spend 50 cents on a greeting card plus postage and celebrate somebody's half birthday, they're going to remember you. They're going to smile and think about you. Oh, what did we just do? We made them remember you and smile with your name on a piece of paper. And, you know, as long as you're not over logoing, you know, you're understating your brand, people will remember you. They'll love you. They'll come back to you. They'll refer you. I like to say it this way, Dave. One of my goals is to, you know, obviously is to save time and make more money for all my customers. But I do say it like this. I want to put helium in the hand of every one of your customers. And why do I say it like that? If you're a realtor and I put helium in the hand of every one of your customers and some of their friends go, hey, do you know a good realtor? Oh, yep. I've got the best realtor on the planet. I want their hand to pop up so high and so fast and say, I know the best realtor on the planet. I know the best chiropractor on the planet. I know the best dentist on the planet. I know the best hairdresser on the planet. That's a true, you know, goal for me. I want people to really I want them to love you so much that they can't deny that you're the only one they're going to refer this year and they're it. So anyway, I could go on for a long time, Dave. You better stop me.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in right now because this is getting out of hand. No, Joe, it's perfect. So you've queued up pretty much all the topics that we want to talk about today and kind of dive in a little deeper. So
Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait. The energy's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
The first thing is, and I do want to swing back to kind of the giftology concept because you've covered a couple of those key principles, but you know, gifting, it feels like the mailbox kind of disappeared around like the 90s. Like it just felt like everyone said, email, sweet, this is free, let's send it. You know, there's value to it, but it's like, you know, if you're lucky and you're crushing it, you're getting like 3% open rates with prospecting, right? It's not great. So talk to me a little bit about like the new age of gifting. Like how does this fit into strategies? Because I really want a lot of our clients, they're franchisors, they're home service, their personal pet, elderly care service type concepts, and they're individual business owners saying, I've got to get in front of more people, or I want to build a referral network, or we're going to cover all those things today in our time. But let's just break it down to the core concept of the strategy behind gifting and physical media and staying power. If you don't mind giving, I know you've got some data on staying power. Let's start with that. Like, how much more effective really can it be?
Oh, like I can get you up in the 90 percentile of customer retention. But let's talk about something you just said that was so important. I learn every day. I read, I listen to podcasts, probably like somebody's doing right now. They're listening to this podcast and they're learning. And I praise you for that. It's something you should constantly do. Feed your mind and you will grow. But I was listening to Seth Godin, and he was talking about email and the effectiveness of email. And he threw out this concept, and I just kind of went, whoa, oh my gosh, he's right. What if you had to pay to send an email? how many less emails would you send? How much more engaging would that email be? He basically was saying, listen, prior to the 1990s, the mailbox is what was being used. All of a sudden, email came around and there was no cost for a stamp to send a message to somebody. No cost. Meaning, I can send 1 million emails today and there's really no cost to me. I'm not paying 5 cents or even a penny a piece. I just click a button and it just goes out. And there's no buy-in. There's no skin in the game when you're sending those mass broad emails.
Yeah.
Now, let's take, for instance, the mailbox. And literally what you just said 20 years ago, just right when the inception of email came about, the game was direct mail. And you would send pieces of direct mail. There was a cost associated. So you had to have a team that would actually follow up and engage with the prospects that you were sending mail to.
Mhm.
And it's so funny that in today's day and age that we're coming right back to where that left off, which is people are sick of their inbox. All of us pick up our phone almost every day. I almost guarantee we pick up our phone, we go to our email, we click edit, and we slide and we delete. And we don't even read, again, that 3%. What's the average open rate? I think right now is 11%, for all emails. That is like, ugh, really? 11%. There's a lot of lack of value in that process. So I guess what I'm trying to say is email's free. You don't have any skin in the game, and neither does the recipient. A gift changes that dynamic. There's what's called the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity works like this. If you give somebody something, inside of their brain and their psyche, they can't help themselves but want to give back to you in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes that might just be taking a phone call. Sometimes that might actually be opening up an email, responding to a survey. There's all kinds of things you can do, but there's now skin in the game. There's skin in the game from you, and the law of reciprocity comes into play. And it is such a monster deal. I can't count the number of customers we have helped win back customers that they lost, get actual referrals, like real. This is no game, for me. This is not a game for me. I'm just not flapping my lips and talking smack. The truth is, people talk about referrals, but it never happens because they never really engage the customer to actually get the referrals. There are a small few folks out there. They're typically in the corner offices making lots of money, and they get what I'm talking about right now. But if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you don't take care of your customers, you don't love on your customers on a regular basis and reach out and touch them, and it doesn't have to be in their mailbox, but somehow you have to let that customer know that you actually care about them. You actually care that they are a customer of yours and their business means something to you. Because if you don't, somebody else will do it. I promise. Somebody else will do it. And I'm talking to literally hundreds of people every single day, and I am teaching them these principles. And the more people that are taught these principles and start loving on their customers, the more, we're going to penetrate this marketplace and really help salespeople. The strategies that we have already worked out. Think about this, a realtor. Now, we have probably half of our users are realtors, and we've done a lot of work with the realtor space. One of the very first things we did was we created a project called Ditch the Basket, and it's a campaign. And I know all of you are like, oh, an email campaign. Nope, not an email campaign. This is a mailbox campaign, okay? So think about the typical realtor, and I'm just gonna say this. I have purchased and sold 8 homes in my lifetime. I have yet to hear back from a realtor, yet to this day. And here we are in 2020. Some of these homes weren't very small, and I'm shocked. I don't smell bad. I'm not fat and ugly. And they're not calling me back to sell me another home. I don't get it. What's going on? Check this out. I create this program called Ditch the Basket. And what it does is it sends a gift every 90 days to the person you sold the home to for 2.5 years. The cost is about $200. And I think we all know that realtors make pretty good money on the sale of a home, especially now. The average sale price of a home here in Las Vegas is $370,000. Even 2 points on that, still a pretty good chunk of change. And to spend a couple $100 to actually send a gift every 90 days for 2.5 years, one time you put a recipient into a specific address group and you do nothing else. We take care of the rest. All personalized, all right to that customer. Do you think there's any chance in anywhere on any planet in any city that if you're sending somebody a gift every 90 days that you sold a home to and somebody says, "Hey Dave, know a good realtor?" Oh gosh, yeah, I know a good realtor. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's going to come out of their mouth so freaking fast. It's just going to make your head spin. And that's really what we do. We like to create those campaigns that actually solicit. The third gift we send in that campaign, I mean, some people look at me and go, "Joe, why are you selling tape measures?" Well, I'm not selling tape measures. What I'm selling is a marketing play. The third gift that goes out in that campaign is a greeting card. And inside of the greeting card, it said, "How do we measure up? If we measured up to your expectations, we love referrals." We actually ask for referrals in behest of that realtor. Then they get a tape measure in the same box. And in the tape measure, on the tape measure, is the homeowner's name emblazoned right on the tape measure and the realtor's logo understated. They'll never forget who sent them that. Never in a million years. And that's just the third gift. And I'm not talking about $50, $100 gifts every time. I mean, this is some useful things. Second gift, Home Depot card. They're in their home for 90 days. Who doesn't need a Home Depot card when they've been at a home for 90 days? Oh my gosh, come on.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. But that's just one aspect. We were talking about prospecting earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We have created prospecting campaigns that convert people. They convert to sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal to us. That's a big deal to anybody in sales. And by the way, I don't want to send a mixed message at all. Email is still useful. It is still king. That is not going away. Text, still highly, highly useful. And clearly, the rates of people that will open up a text and look at it, amazing, right?
Yep.
This is a mixed media approach. And let me tell you how mixed media. I'll show you this. This is a greeting card for Networking Riches from one of my buddies. And he uses our system. But what's on the inside of the card? A QR code to the link to sign up for his Networking Riches event. We're going to convert them from a physical mailbox product to a digital landing page and a nice message. Now, let's talk about automation. Yeah. They click on that link. They fill out the information, including their address. Automatically, it kicks popcorn and a brownie that says, "Hey, we're looking forward to you attending our event. We've sent you some popcorn for you to enjoy during the event. Don't pop it until 5 minutes before go time." And all of a sudden, it increases engagement by 30, 40%.
Right.
And when people are engaged, 30, 40% of that means 34% more in sales. That's a big deal. That's one small example of what we do, but that automation feature is such a big deal. The last thing in the world I want my customers doing is, "Oh, I'm working in the the Mailbox Power system for 3 hours today." Not a chance. No, not a chance. No.
A couple of thoughts I had as you were going through that, Joe. I've had buddies that have been in direct mail back when that was it was starting to get a revival, early 2000s.
Right.
They were doing some pretty creative stuff, but it was expensive. Guy, and I'll give him a shout out, Chris Saway. They would send canoe paddles in the mail to CIOs, and they'd put custom messages on them with vinyl letters. Each piece probably costs like $25 hard cost to get it ready. Then $50 to ship because it's a weird oblong 5-foot long package.
Absolutely.
But what they would have happen, as since we're talking about prospecting, is he told me a story of once the mail room. This guy came with this giant black package and is walking down the hall to the CIO's office, and people started following him. And eventually they had like 7 people in the CIO's office. They open this random package, and it's this paddle. So here you've got the CIO, a couple of his directors, and you've got the mailroom guy and a few other random people from their department that are all sitting in the room getting this custom message, 7 eyeballs on one canoe paddle. The guy has it sitting in his office when the sales guy comes to meet with them. They had like a 20,000% ROI on that campaign.
Right.
it generated millions of dollars of pipeline. And I think, what would it have cost to acquire that customer? That's what I think about. Just like, what's customer acquisition cost? If you
Absolutely.
talk about a realtor trying to get somebody to click on their links to let them sell a house, it is a really competitive market. Let's talk about home services. Let's talk about painting or flooring or windows or anything, right? High
Yeah.
market. What do they pay to acquire a customer? A few
Absolutely.
$100, usually $100, $200. But if you
Absolutely.
campaign like this, and now you're blending, let's say you do some email and then you send out a package of something interesting, you blend it. I love the QR code in the physical media. I was going to have you hold it up so I could scan it during
Oh
our,
yeah. Yeah. Duh, yeah.
I mean, but you're now tying the two together so you can then also increase trackability, right? I can
Absolutely.
track who clicks on that link. I can see how the physical card is impacting my overall pipeline development. That, I love the way that you're approaching it. That's critical, linking the two together, but then also
Absolutely.
making sure you're using both, because just sending out cards alone with no call to action, it'll help people remember you, but you're not helping to inspire and shift behavior.
That's right. No, you're exactly right. And when I first started, I was a little bit mistaken because I was just like, listen, folks, if all you're doing is email, 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 email until they die, yeah, wrong answer. But then I started going, okay, but what is it? When I meet somebody new, Dave, I mean, you know this. I think I've sent you a nice to meet you gift, right? I met you. We wanted to do business together. I sent you a nice to meet you gift. That changes the dynamic of a relationship. The first thing that I want people to get from me is something that's not about business, something that says, I care about you and I want to work with you. That's what I want them to feel.
Yeah.
Did you hear that word? Feel?
Mhm.
I want them to feel good about having a relationship with me. I don't want them to buy from me yet. But anyway, what I'm really saying is, I want to have a relationship with you. Harvey McKay, How to Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive, author. One of the best books I've ever read. He tells you in this book that there are 66 things you have to know about your customer. 66. And I had met him backstage. I was getting ready to put him on a stage for a big show. And we sat down and talked for 15 minutes. And lo and behold, he knew those 66 things about me before the conversation was over, and I had no idea. And all of a sudden, I start getting stuff in the mail from him. What? This is literally like 15 years ago. So,
Wow.
Just so impressed, with the fact that he knew me. He sent me stuff in the mail. He thought of me. He thought of me out of all the other people in the world. He thought of me. This is a business owner, a CEO that thought of me, this, little guy, that's just playing a part in a role in his life somewhere else. And wow, changed the relationship. I still talk to him to this day because of that. To this day. Isn't it crazy? Just
That's
crazy.
I love it. I love it.
But that's the deal. It's not transactional. It's relational. And that is the difference. We want a relationship because relationships don't run from you. Relationships refer business to you. Transactions, they're gone. Somebody else is going to offer them a cheaper price, right?
Right.
A better widget, a whatever. I mean, come on. We're both in fairly competitive spaces. We both have competitors.
Mhm.
But I have relationships with my customers. Relationships.
Mhm.
Not transactional. Here's your invoice. Pay your invoice.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I got to tell you a story about this, because some people, I don't think they grasp the concept of building a true relationship with a customer. And wherever I've worked, I have people that years after I leave industries will still reach out to me. I had somebody, I was in the translation industry for about 6.5 years. And sorry, this is about me, but it hopefully illustrates the point.
Right.
And I had a client that when she found out I'd left and I was helping to run a sales automation, technology company, she reached out and said, "Hey, I need to buy a CRM." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's good to know. Like, what can I do to help you out? Like, I'm designed for these industries over here. I don't know if I'm the right fit." She's like, "I just trust you. I know that you'll help me find the right answer. And if it's you, I'd love it. I'd be happy to write you checks again. If not, I know you'll steer me in the right direction." And we weren't a good fit. And so I steered her in a different direction. And I know, like, she'll at some point she'll probably refer somebody to me who she knows needs what I've got, but I don't really care. Like, it's about, like, honestly, I know her, I know about her kids. Like, I got to read that book, because I've actually haven't read that book. It reminds me of Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends
Yes.
with People a bit. But
Seriously, big deal, right?
yeah,
Yeah, big deal. It's about the human. It's not about the transaction. It's about that human.
when
Yes.
you go to sleep at night, you can look in the mirror and you like yourself, like because you're
Yeah.
adding value to the relationship economy. And people, I've always said, trust is we exchange trust, we trade in trust. It's really the currency of the business world.
So
And
true.
and this is what you're describing, using gifting and cutting through the clutter and getting in front of people, and
Yeah.
you're really helping to build trust, and people start to see you now differently. That you're not, oh, it's Dave, he's asking for money again. It's no, it's Dave. What did he send me this time? Like, what's he doing?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah. You talked about that big, that big gift that they would send. What was it? An oar or
yeah, a canoe paddle. Yeah,
canoe paddle. So, we used to call them a banner bomb, but now, we're trying to rename this. But basically, we were teaching people how to get in contact with that super important person. How do you get in front of them? And we called it a banner bomb, but basically, it was basically a combination of at least 5 of our products that were personalized
bam.
to who you were going after, wanted to meet. And it's kind of morphed into quite a few things, these sophisticated campaigns, physical campaigns. There's one that I created and used, and it costs me about $120 every time I push the button, but it's effective. I, start with just introducing myself and Mailbox Power and just saying, hey, this is what we do. We're a customer engagement platform. I'm going to be sending you gifts because that's what we do. And that's what I really love doing. I don't ask them for anything. I'm not asking them to go anywhere or do anything. Honestly, nothing.
Yeah.
The next thing I do is I introduce a problem and a solution. Again, third time, problem, solution. Every 4 days, they're getting an actual physical box in their mailbox every 4 days for 28 days. And you stop and think about that from a prospecting campaign, $120. Eventually, I'll be able to tailor that down or up depending on what I'm after. But I'm after, CMOs, VPs of marketing, CROs, people who are in positions to kind of look at us. I even send them, the fourth thing I send them is chocolate. And in this, I have these huge greeting cards. And on the top of the greeting card, it explains how it changes the brain chemistry when people eat chocolate, including your customers. Do you know how good it feels to eat chocolate? Do you know what it does to your brain, the brain chemistry? And I explain that so they actually are engaged in our process and what we do, and are understanding that it's not just about the email. It's about the mailbox and the inbox and the text and messenger. But this critical component has a 100% open rate.
Mhm.
That's what I know.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, if instructional designers were listening to us, they'd say, "Oh, it's experiential learning. You're using experiential learning to get people to comprehend the value of what you do."
That's exactly.
On the digital side, it's funny because it's easier for us and less expensive for us to do the same sort of immersive experience. But as soon as somebody fills out a form on a page, right,
Yes.
on our page, they immediately get a text. They immediately get an
Yeah.
email with a video
Yeah.
message. They immediately, within about a minute, usually 30 seconds or less, they're on the phone with us. And people say,
Yeah.
"Holy crap! I get exactly what I wanted to
Yeah.
know about your platform. You're
Yeah.
doing the exact same thing." But I'll be honest, getting a box of chocolates is a lot more enjoyable than getting a text or a video message from Dave Hansen. So, yeah, man. Let's shift gears for a second,
Point,
Jeff.
Dave. Good point. I did forget something I wanted to touch upon really quick. We were
Go
talking
ahead.
about prospecting. We haven't really talked about the inner circle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, go
So
ahead.
those influencers, right? That receptionist, that person, the gatekeepers, they're as susceptible as the others, and really understanding that gifting might be to those folks might be another road, into that same person's, inbox, phone call, whatever. But treating everybody really well. I've always done that. It's just one of those things I've done in life. This was such a Mailbox Power is such a great fit for me. I'm just I want to hug everybody. I love every human on the planet. I want to give them everything I've got. I want to help them. It's just kind of what I am. But understanding that there's an inner circle as well. The wife, the children. I mean, you start thinking through how you can affect somebody's life in a positive way, including the inner circle. You are going to win all day long, all day.
Yeah. Case in point, when I was got my career started at a company called Altiris here in the Valley. They were a
Yeah.
Fortune 1000 rocket ship growth, great leadership team, and the executive assistant, she was, doggone it, I just forgot her name. She was one of the most influential people in the company. If you got her ear, she'd walk into the CEO's office and he would listen to you if she brought you into his office. The
Yes,
sales, the CFO, it didn't matter.
that's right.
And I remember being in a town hall meeting once, and Greg Butterfield was the CEO, and he brought it up, and he's like, just so you guys know, when we sit in executive meetings, and I wish I could remember her name because she was awesome. He's like, honestly, she kind of runs the show,
Yeah.
and we forget that. I do think we forget that. And receptionists, I feel the same way because
Yeah.
they're the least thanked, often overlooked people, and yet sometimes they answer the phone and they broker things all day long, and nobody ever stops to say, Susan, how's your day going? What, what do what's new with you? How is this COVID craziness of the election impacting you and your family? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're like, wow, someone saw me as a human today rather than a digital switchboard.
Exactly. And thank you for being you. I mean, just a simple message like that with a small gift. And sometimes they might look at it like they're trying to, you're trying to buy them, but truth is, you just don't make it about you, make it about them. And everything will be awesome. No doubt about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up inner circle. That's
Yeah.
a really critical part of this. Let's talk about so you've given us one example, but I think a lot of folks they're really hard, like they're so ingrained in digital, they have a hard time starting to see, now how do I blend them? Like how can I effectively blend
Right.
a text and an email with a
Right.
card, with a video, with something else, and a phone call, and
Right.
then a box of brownies? Like, can you give
Right.
us examples that you've seen that have really cut through that barrier and blended the two together effectively?
Yeah, definitely. I've got quite a few digital agencies that are using the platform. So for all kinds of engagement purposes. But one is kind of interesting. 18 months ago, came to me and said, "Hey, I've got this problem," and his problem was chargebacks, right? Credit card chargebacks. And here's what the deal was: he was losing about $40,000 a month in credit card chargebacks. Big number, right?
Yeah.
Was selling informational products. So, 500, 1,000, 5,000, $10,000 products. And people would call the bank and do a chargeback on him. We effectively eliminated that to zero. And the cost to him was just under $900 a month. And all it was something very, very simple. His process was he'd sell them something and the email started. And that's all he ever did. Email, 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 no phone calls, no nothing,
Yeah.
no connection of any kind.
Right.
Change was the minute they purchased, it triggered an order right through our system. He didn't have to do anything. And it triggered an order for literally a set of brownies and a greeting card that wasn't about him. It was about them and thanking them for trusting him and for the business. All of a sudden, the law of reciprocity is in play. I cannot call the bank and do a chargeback now. I just can't do it. The guy actually gave me informational products. He sent me a gift. He thanked me for being a customer, and it literally went to zero. Zero. For the first engagement was a gift and not an email. Now, I've seen others where I'm still tracking and doing so much on the backside of this, trying to get this raw data where, yes, we've seen sales, we've seen chargebacks, we've seen all kinds of things using gifting. But what I'm still tracking is open rates. What happens to the open rate of the email when the first encounter after a purchase is an actual gift? Not a card, but a box, in their mailbox. Now, truth be told, I got a lot of customers that totally believe in it and they're doing it. I just can't get the damn data from them. So anyway, it's driving me a little nutty. I got a few case studies going on as well. Some of these engagements that are getting more engagement to a meeting. Getting more people to a meeting by sending a card and a little bit of popcorn, getting people to watch a video. This is a big deal where you're sending a card and some popcorn and basically a QR code in the card that says, "Hey, I've sent you some popcorn and a video. There's far more popcorn than video, but I'd really love it if you just go pop this popcorn, get your phone out and watch this video. It's about 3 to 4 minutes, and thank you. And that's it. But all of a sudden, they've got popcorn, they've got a video to watch, and they watch it. I mean, that's kind of the deal, right? Is, we're converting that physical media into a digital medium where they're actually engaging with the media, that our customers have created.
And that's trackable, measurable impact. I think this is the challenge people have with physical media in the past, is that they send out cards, or they send out a box of brownies, or in some cases, I've heard some really creative things where they'll send out one walkie-talkie, and then if somebody does something, they'll send the two-part send tactic. I've heard those can work very well. The cool desktop safe with the key that comes in the mail if you have a meeting, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, done that as well. We have them do it with golf balls now. They'll send them the blank sleeve, right, with their name. It's customized. We actually do the golf balls and the box now.
Oh, I didn't know you did the box too.
Yeah, you can actually print the whole box. You have, you own the whole box. You can print whatever you want on the box. So there's some of that going on too. I like that approach. I really do. As long as that's true customer engagement. The customers that that you are trying to move from here to here, not customers you don't know. That's not a prospecting campaign. But we didn't talk really about best practices either, and we should probably get into that soon. Just best practices for gifting. What are the best gifting strategies? And I just want to give everybody kind of a baseline. And I say this: so if you have a customer base and you will do two things, your retention will go through the roof. And referrals will happen as well. And this is just two. This is so simple. There's so much more you could do, but these two things are so simple. If somebody buys from you, you thank them with a gift, a package in their mailbox, a box in their mailbox. Thank them. That's number one. Number two, it's birthday gifting. Birthday gifting. And we practice this and we teach this all day long. It's a birthday gift and a half birthday gift. Okay. And I know, half birthday. Here we go. We talked about that a little earlier. But if you will send a birthday card or a birthday card and some type of an edible gift, and then a half birthday card alone, just those things. I thank my customer for their business. I send them a birthday card and a gift, and I send them a half birthday card. Those three touches alone in a year are going to make you memorable. Now, there are all kinds of other things you can do. We have set up campaigns for folks to you were talking about people who were doing like AC&R, the heating and air conditioning and those types of things. We already have pre-done campaigns that are postcards that actually creatively put the person's name on the front of the postcard, but it actually gives them a tip every single month for how to maintain their heating, their air conditioning, and their home in general. And it's good common practice. You know what I mean? We've got tons of them that are, recipes, drink recipes, all kinds of just stuff that just keeps you top of mind. Stay in touch, keep your brand in front of them. It's not about your brand, so to speak, but it's about adding value to that customer somehow. And through those educational campaigns, landing in their mailbox. And I got to tell you, the millennials, USPS did a study a few years ago. The millennials want stuff in their mailbox. They've only been around since the inception of email as adults. They don't want emails. They're the reverse of us. No, I want stuff in my mailbox. I don't want stuff in my inbox. I'm already there myself. I'd rather have something in my mailbox at this point. But now that we're done with the election cycle anyway, so.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Wow.
So this is a critical time of year for a lot of people. I hear people talk now more about gifting than I do any other time of the year. And so I thought maybe it's kind of a parting thought. And it feels like, Joe, we might need to have another session and share some more details, because there's a lot of content I feel like we left covered. But
I would love that. We left some stuff undone.
Yeah, but why don't you share a little bit with us some best practices around the holidays, because it's cliche to gift now. I just talked to a customer about this when they were like, well, we should do some gifting. And I said, bear in mind, everyone's gifting. this time of year, right? Everyone, well, most people are. If anyone who's going to do it, they're going to do it now, and you're going to get buried in a sea of chintzy and inexpensive gifts that don't mean a whole lot, but they're trying to get in front of a customer once a year. So how do you do it right? And give the mic to you, Joe. Give us some insights into that.
Okay, so let's start here. If a customer's spending more than $1 million with you in a year, you're probably going to gift to them a whole lot different than somebody's only spending $100. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
For most of us, that's kind of the case, right? So I guess what I'm starting with is segment your list. You're an expert at this, Dave. You understand this. This is what you help people do, is segment your list. I always start there. Who am I giving to and why? Get yourself that segmented list. It might be 2, 3, 4 segments, 4 different lists, but get them segmented. Put together a budget, number 2. So segment your list and get a budget together. And I can promise you, when it comes time to actually choose the gifts, if you've done these 2 steps, the next steps are really easy, right? Okay, so the next thought I want to put in everybody's head is this. It's not about you. It's not about your brand. Do not put your logo and plaster it all over every freaking thing. Just don't do it. It's not in your best interest. What is in your best interest is to thank your customer for their business from this year. Be thankful for them. Write a nice message. And I got to tell you, if you don't have this done, we already have it done for you. We already understand how to make all of this work for you and make it happen literally in minutes, where you don't have to make complicated decisions. Call a vendor, have it ordered, send them a lit, whatever, all the stuff that comes involved with that. We actually personalize everything. Don't be cheap. If you've got an office of 25 or 100 people and you want those people to know your name, send enough for everybody. Don't just take care of 1 or 2 humans in that office. If they're important to you, make sure they know they're important to you by your giving. Now, it doesn't have to be a complicated Harry and David, expensive box. It doesn't have to be expensive knives or, anything crazy, a $5,000 wine set. Yes, sure, that can be effective, but does it have to be that? No, it does not. The customer just wants to really know that you care about them, that you genuinely love them and you want their business. That is really, so simple, right? Really, really just not a complicated process. But nonetheless, make sure you have updated addresses. Addresses, that's a big deal, right? That's something that a lot of folks don't collect. And I'll just say this, your network is your net worth. And if you don't treat that network like gold, you'll lose them eventually. Having their home address is a big deal. We created this technology called I Need Your Mailbox, where you send somebody a link and you wrap it up with a nice little message. And if they click on the link and fill out their address and name and their birthday, it lands right in our contact database. And that can be shared with other databases like yours as well. We have a pretty healthy way to share. So good stuff. But anyway, bottom line, making sure you have, an address to actually send something to. And then it's about dates, the dates. What is it? When is that date that you want to send something by? Do you want to just send a Thanksgiving gift that's just saying, I'm very thankful for you and thankful for your company. I'm thankful for you as a vendor. Don't leave your vendors out. Don't. I've ran way too many businesses, and businesses run sometimes on those vendors. My vendor relationships, they're going to know I love them. No question about it. Every single one of them. And I'm not going to send them the gifts they create for me either. So anyway, but, making sure that, it really is just really simple. And I got to say this too, just don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Let them know you love them. Let them know you appreciate them, and send them a gift. It doesn't, honestly, don't overthink it. Don't make it too big of a deal, and don't second guess yourself. Just don't. Everything will work out just fine. Everybody will be very thankful to receive anything from you. I guarantee it, especially in today's day and age. One of our most popular gifts this year was a social isolation survival kit.
And it's funny, right? But we do these personalized boxes. I have one sitting right here. This one's trying to earn brownie points, but it had a big red cross on the front of it. And it said social isolation survival kit. And it put the person's name right on the box. And inside of the box, there was, a card and brownies and, break plastic in case of emergency. And that probably got more business out of the most ridiculous thing in the world, right? I mean, a social isolation survival kit. I mean, it was timely. I'll give them that. I'll give us that. But, it doesn't take much, to just let people know you love them, you appreciate them, and you want them. You want them around. So, but anyway, Dave, this has been awesome. We missed a couple of things. I wanted to talk about win-back campaigns, and we didn't even get there to win back those customers that you lost. We should come back and do this again. There's stuff I've left off.
Absolutely. We didn't talk about reputation, online review gathering. There are a couple of great topics.
Oh my goodness.
So let's you and I schedule some time. We'll do another round, and there's a lot more I think we could cover. So I really appreciate the insights, Joe. This is fantastic.
I would love that. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you. And for your audience, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for listening and enriching yourself today. I hope you got value from this. I really, really do. Thank you.
I'm sure they did. Thanks again, Joe.